It's your boy Online Davo, and we back with another video. All right, look, we got a video about ABC News. Rare audio of enslaved people connects history to the present. Now let's get into this video and let's see what we can learn, because this video is pretty much about it's audio of formerly enslaved people right after the emancipation, bro. So it's like, if you really want to know how motherfuckers was feeling, instead of thinking, oh, black people live better during those times, we're gonna hear directly from their mouths, audio of them speaking about their experience, literally being a fucking slave. We're gonna hear about that, and then you can have your little opinion and tell me and tell everybody else it was just whatever. It's casually a part of civilization and all that. But let's get into the video and let's see what they're talking about. Come on.
It's a voice rarely heard, the voice of a formerly enslaved person. Few know that in the decades following emancipation, interviews were done in an effort to preserve their stories. And in tonight's Prime Focus, you'll hear some of what they said as part of our partnership with the 10 Million Names Project. ABC's Alex Verche brings us their stories in their words.
I want you to tell me how you got your name.
I got my name from President Jeff Davis. He was president of the Southern Confederacy.
Damn.
He owned my grandfather and my father. My grandfather was a blacksmith, and my father had learned how to write a little bit in Richmond, Virginia, before he brought him down there.
He owned my grandfather and my father. That's crazy, bro. Owning someone? Like, actually owning someone is crazy, man. That is so crazy. And it's just based off your skin color, too. And your kids are born into it also. And say hypothetically, you know what? I don't want no kids because I don't want my kids to be slaves once they get old, they get of age. They'll still go out there, take advantage of your woman, and make her have kids just to have more slaves. Barbaric.
Listening to the voice of a formerly enslaved American, a man by the name of George Johnson. This rare and historic audio interview was recorded in 1941, almost 80 years after Mr. Johnson gained his freedom. He and his family worked on a plantation in Virginia owned by Confederate leader Jefferson Davis, a staunch opponent of abolition. In the interview, Johnson recalls a day in the life as an enslaved person.
Did they drive the slaves down there in Davis's Bend very hard, or did they work them reasonable?
Reasonable. You know, Master Joe gave my Jeff another boy, and boy was chopping cotton. Boy didn't keep with the gang, you understand? He come to whip the boy keep, you understand? Went to the house of Master Joe boy. And that's what's the trouble, son. Said, Mr. Don't whip me, because I don't keep with the gang in it.
Audio tape interviews like this.
Wait, hold on. Wait, what?
Me, because I don't keep with the gang in it.
He said, Mrs. So-and-so whooped me because I won't keep up with the gang. Yep. That's how they was doing you. That's how they was doing us. You know what I'm saying? Shit, you can't keep up with the cotton, you getting whipped. You getting beat. Damn, bruh.
Audio tape interviews like this are striking and uncommon, but are actually part of a long legacy of black families, communities, and institutions, including historically black colleges and universities, that lead the way in collecting and preserving the oral histories of the formerly enslaved people in the 19th and 20th centuries. In the 1930s and beyond, technology allowed some of these interviews to be recorded as part of both federal and independent projects. The details are often difficult to hear, but they remind us this history happened not too long ago, with names, faces, and stories.
Do we know roughly how many of these recordings exist?
The recordings are relatively rare, but the recordings come from a much larger and really important and in many ways unsung collecting effort that took place. In terms of audio technology, most of it was not recorded by audio because the technology didn't exist, at least in any kind of widespread accessible way when most of those were conducted. So it's really just a handful of audio recordings we have.
In 1974, a woman named Celia Black, at the age of 114 years old and shortly before her death, recalled picking cotton in Texas as a child born into slavery.
I didn't have to pick cotton or nothing. I've been doing nothing but working the field. Working the field, oh goodness. Me, my husband would go out west and pick cotton. Pick cotton. Go out west every year. We've been this year going out there picking cotton.
One of the things that kind of struck me when you have an interview recorded in 1974, for some Black Americans, I mean, they're one generation removed from slavery.
In some ways, we think of slavery as ancient history. We think of it as something that happened a very long time ago to people we couldn't possibly have known. I was 6, 7 years old in 1974. So it's kind of amazing that we were alive at the same time.
Yeah.
I was alive at the same time who was someone who had been born enslaved.
Alex Haley's roots.
Right? Really put it into perspective. You're alive at the same time as someone who was born into slavery. Jeez. God damn, man. Man, these people had to be taught, bribed, into being civil, man, into treating other people like humans. It just didn't have, oh my gosh, bro. It's so much stuff, bro. There's the economic reasons, there's the moral reasons they try to use for it. All that stuff, man. But at the end of the day, it's fucked up. And then it's like, but you got all this information out there. For you to try to defend this because there was a difference. There was a difference between this slavery and other slavery that was going on. Everybody know this, or you should know this. There's a difference between chattel slavery and indentured servants and all that, So it's like with that difference, people still go around just saying, oh, it was just like this over here. But no, it wasn't that. America did some new shit. They did some new shit for Black people. You know what I'm saying? They said, fuck it, we're going to create a system that makes sure you're always going to be below us. You know what I'm saying? No, you cannot work your way up. And if you do, you're the exception, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You're not the norm. Okay? So with a country that's built off the back of inequality, you know what I'm saying? This is what you're going to get in present day. It's the only thing, it was only being delayed. That's all it was. This was going to be the end goal, because those same people back then that was slave owners and all that, those are the same ones that's voting for the piece of shit that's in office right now. But they have different motives, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I'm kind of just venting to be honest, but it's like just thinking out loud. But it's like, damn, man, like that shit crazy.
Premiered on ABC just 3 years after this interview with Celia Black.
What's your name?
Kunta Kinte.
Alex Haley came into his work, Roots, what became Roots, really, through his grandmother's stories. So we're really talking about oftentimes great-grandparents at this point in the 70s.
Dr. Kendra Field, chief historian of the 10 Million Names Project, and Harvard professor Vincent Brown explained how these recordings illustrate an enormous preservation effort. The first-hand accounts shedding light on the darkest chapters in our American history, yet also revealing incredible African-American strength and survival.
Yeah. Didn't you have some entertainment doing a dancing or anything? Oh, I used to dance, but I don't do it now. No, I don't dance now. I try my best to serve my master. I'm trying my best to serve my Heavenly Father.
You hear these recordings. What were the emotions when you hear?
To serve my master, bro. To serve my master. God damn.
The recollections of a Celia Black.
First is just the miracle of her survival. It's just that I'm actually hearing this person who had been enslaved. That's kind of a miracle.
Celia Black was alive when Abraham Lincoln was president and lived to see the resignation of President Richard Nixon.
Oh, man.
You remember Abraham Lincoln, President?
Oh, well, they gave him a good name. Oh, Abraham Lincoln. They thought Abraham they thought, everybody thought Abraham was the best president there was.
In a similar effort to preserve this history and legacy, the 10 Million Names Project is a moonshot endeavor that aims to use the power of ancestry research to identify the names of the 10 million men, women, and children who were enslaved in the territory that became the United States. The goal is to put names and faces on this vital history, not only to give the enslaved the dignity they deserve, but to connect those living today with their family's story. With the help of the 10 Million Names,
They used to strip people of their name. Imagine someone stripping you of your name, giving you a new name. Family can't find you, nothing like that, bro. They give you a name. That's so crazy. Generations lost. Just lost out there. Right? Damn, bro.
Genealogist, we were able to find the direct descendants of Celia Black. In Rhode Island, we met 68-year-old Curtis Royal, who spent time with her as a young man.
She's my great-grandmother from my mother's side of the family.
Do you remember any of the stories that she would tell?
She told us about how difficult it was, you know, just being alive during that period. And of course, she would tell us a story about the big ox that they had 2 of them, and how her father would set her right on the head of the ox, and she would just hold on with the horns. So those are, you know, as a boy, you know, those are fascinating. You know, you say, wow.
My grandfather had some big old oxen. He had one with a big wide horns. Oh, it looked like a house. Wide horns, and I used to sit up there and between them horns, and then his name was Coley.
Bro, I love being black, bro. I love being black, bro. I wouldn't trade in for nothing else. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't trade in for nothing else, man. Like, just, even though there's so much shit that come with it, bro, it's just like, damn, like, it's just fascinating at the same time because, I don't know, like this, bro, like the history that's with it in the sense of the trials and tribulations people like me had to go through just to get to this point, you know, and knowing that they done really tried their best to tear us down and break us down. And yeah, they was definitely putting some work in, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. They was definitely, you know, giving niggas a run for their money. But it's like, you can't, they tried to get us out of here, bro. They tried to get us out of here, man. And it's like, I just love talking like older black people, especially like the grandmas and the granddads and shit like that, because they really be telling you some stuff that you will not know. They done lived through all the stuff. They done lived through all the events that people in the present try to whitewash, you know? So they done experience actually living during the time of Ronald Reagan, of Nixon, slavery. They done actually lived it, you know? So it's like I see why the white supremacists try to erase this, man. You know what I'm saying? This shit is powerful, you know? This shit can really, it's powerful, bruh. It's powerful and it's real life. You know what I'm saying? This is a real experience. This isn't no made up debate, hypothetical, what if scenario, nigga. She done really lived this shit, you know? So respect, Celia Black. Respect.
Name was Coley, and the other one was named Left.
Was it ever difficult to talk about slavery?
Yes, and I think what made it so difficult is just realizing, you know, how emotional it was and what they went through. You know, you try to put yourself into their physical being and to understand what they went through, and it's scary.
You've heard the recording of your great-grandmother in 1974.
It was very challenging for me to hear when they asked her the question about what it was like working in the fields, the heat in Texas, the humidity, and, you know, sometimes 105, 110 degrees. And I just can't fathom waking up, sun up to sundown, working in the fields. How do they do it? How did they do it?
You learn about slavery in America, and I think especially being a Black American, the initial emotion.
Shit, I had no choice. Either that or die. Either that or die. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest, you know? And it's like, damn, man. It's like, shit. The same ones that try to downplay it wouldn't last a day. They wouldn't last a day doing it. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't make it to 114 living the life Celia Black lived. They wouldn't do that, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta be built a certain way to go through certain stuff like that, man. You see now, they go through a little hardship. They start, oh, wait a minute, hold on now. Welcome to the club, bro. Welcome to America. This is America. You know what I'm saying? This is the real America.
Is anger.
There's the history of slavery as an institution, which was all about oppressing people. And that's a very dark history that I think should make us angry. But then there's an African-American history of survival through and beyond that institution. And that's kind of amazing. To hear people, accepting that I lived this life, it was incredibly hard, and I'm still here. And that I've survived, and I've got children, and I've passed on some kind of legacy.
How does who's conducting these interviews and how they're conducting these interviews, how does that matter?
Oh, I mean, it's enormously important. For the WPA interviews in general, the vast majority are white interviewers. Some are the children of the former slave owners, in fact, that are interviewing a former slave, right, of that same family.
But everywhere, slavery was a system for allocating status. And slaves and ex-slaves were supposed to be low-status people. And so when they were talking to people who they perceived to be of higher status, they had to be very careful about what they said, right? Because those people
that's what I was
could
thinking.
determine their fate.
While many of the audio recording,
I'm not gonna lie, that's low key what I was thinking. I'm like, that's how I made that face. I'm like, ooh, you talking to the slave master child or grandchild, whatever like that. You probably can't say too much. You probably can't really lay it loose as if you was talking to a black person, a fellow, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, I didn't know that. I guess that makes sense then. During that time, like, you had to, if you was black and you had like an audio device or something, you had to have some type of money, some type of connections back then, because they wasn't giving that to no regular black person.
Don't reflect it. Slaves were frequently subjected to heinous forms of abuse, including beatings, sexual assault, and forms of torture. The historic 10 Million Names Project, in which ABC News is the exclusive media partner, is an ancestry database that the public can access, add information to, and use as a research tool. And because so little information about enslaved people was officially documented, amassing this data is a huge task.
We encourage anyone that wants to get involved to reach out, to go to the website, and to be part of that project.
Who stands the most to gain from hearing these? I mean, is it black folk? Is it younger black folk? Is it white America? Is it Americans as a whole?
Shit, I would say anyone who really wants to know the true history of America. Anyone who is tired of being told lies by the American institution. You know what I'm saying? That's who I think should listen to these type of videos. You really want to know how I feel. You really want to understand. You keep on hearing people downplay it. You keep hearing people say it's a victim complex and all that other shit, victim mentality. It wasn't that serious. You listen to the audio then, nigga. You watch the video your damn self. Make your own judgment. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the video's out there. The information is out there. It just all depends on how much do you care to go search it up. That's all it comes down to. How much do you care? And sadly, most people, they rather be ignorant on it, because if you're able to be ignorant on it, you're able to make ignorant choices without having to feel as if you made a conscious choice. So if you voted for some pedo, but you want to play ignorant as if you didn't hear about all the stuff that was going on, or you didn't do too much research on his policies and stuff like that, you're able to play that card and feel like you got away clean. But no, nigga, you still did what you did. You still did what you did. And you got to hold that jacket for the rest of your life. I ain't forget what you did, bro.
We're going to understand anything about freedom, we're going to have to understand the people who were denied that freedom.
I mean, while very few of us will have the opportunity.
Ooh. If you want to understand anything about freedom, you have to understand the people that were denied freedom. Damn. Woo. Yeah, he cooking. He cooked with that one. I ain't gonna lie. He cooked. To know where you going, you gotta understand where you came from. Hello.
Opportunity of hearing our ancestors' voices on tape, the 10 Million Names Project hopes that one day all Black Americans will have the chance to know their ancestors' names and stories the way that Curtis knows Celia.
You had the chance to know your great-grandmother.
Yes.
How powerful is it being able to connect that dot?
It's extremely powerful. You got to hear it from her directly. Not something that was passed on, but to hear it directly from her.
Damn.
Her pain.
Our thanks to Alex Prochet for that. And for more ancestry stories and information about the 10 Million Names Project, scan the QR code on the screen to visit our newly...
Wow, bro. Man, I hope they doing good with the stuff they got going on, man. I ain't gonna lie. That's so crazy, bro. Like I said, it wasn't that long ago. It was not that long ago. I ain't gonna lie. I thought they would play more audio, but maybe that's all the audio they have. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But shout out ABC News for the video. Y'all did y'all thing. Let this just be a lesson, bro. It wasn't that long ago. There's people alive who have spoke to people that experienced it. Yeah, it sounds crazy because, you know, in our lifetime, so much stuff has happened, but it wasn't that long ago, bro. And there's still rippling effects of it because, as we know, that was just the beginning of a long history, long journey of oppression, a long journey of inequality, of constant obstacles being placed in front of Black people. That was simply just the beginning, because that's what this whole country is built off of, that inequality. You know what I'm saying? From the master to the slave, of them being treated and beat for not keeping up with the get along, for not picking enough cotton. You know what I'm saying? Working out west with your... It's so much stuff, bro. I don't be wanting to get too much into it because I'm gonna end up yapping all day, talking and venting and shit. Let me know any other videos like this. Want me to? I'm done for the night. I'm done. I'm gone. Peace.